Welcome to Supply Chain Management. This is Module 2, Strategic Sourcing, and this is the first part wherein we will be discussing on outsourcing. This PPT has been prepared by referring many sources exclusively for the purpose of education. Let us first understand what is a strategic sourcing. Strategic sourcing can be defined as a collective and organized approach to supply chain management that defines the way information is gathered and used so that an organization can leverage its consolidated purchasing power to find the best possible values in the marketplace. In order to put it in a simple term, strategic sourcing involves the gathering of information and the selection of a proper supplier and consolidate its purchasing power. Why these things are done? In order to have a best position in the marketplace or create the best value in the marketplace. This is termed as strategic sourcing. It's one part of the overall procurement policy or the procurement management of any organization. It can achieve these supply chain goals to reduce the costs, assure the better quality of the product, and achieve a faster time to market. Earlier we reach the market, better is the prospect for our product. More we delay, the chances of losing the market is high, and that's why the strategic sourcing will help us to reach the market at a faster time. Strategic sourcing views suppliers as crucial value partners and aims to build sustained and collaborative relations. During my earlier discussions, I had spoken about Kiretsu, the Japanese principle of collaborating various suppliers. Strategic sourcing also aims at collaboration. So the Kiretsu principle must be followed. Japanese have already proven that. Only thing is that we need to follow that. So Kiretsu will help us to collaborate with suppliers, treat them as our partners. So the relationship will be sustained for a longer time, and the relationship gets cordial, and due to which the supply chain management becomes very easy. Let me explain you a very simple case wherein one wrong decision with respect to supply chain or with respect to technology, how will it affect the entire company? For example, General Motors obsession for robots during later part of 20th century, say by 1990, it was expected to replace the entire General Motors plant by nearly 14,000 robots. That was the plan, and it costed around billions of dollars. And the result, the outcome, a very pathetic situation. It was so pathetic that the robots, first of all, they did not work properly. Probably they were not programmed to work in the way in which they wanted to work. That is another reason. The front window pane was kept somewhere else. Front seats were fit to back seats, and there were so many flaws. There were so many mistakes, and the time that it was taking was too much, and it was a horrible experience for General Motors. And whereas when it came to Toyota or Nissan, Toyota, Nissan, or many Japanese companies, they did not use any robots, no automation, no high level technology. They were all using conventional man made systems to get the assembly done. As a result, what happened? Their cost was very less, quality was better, and they followed a lean production system. Lean production, I've already explained you. Lean manufacturing system means everything is procured as and when it is required. So waste is almost zero. That helped Toyota and Nissan to reduce the cost, and not only that, it reduced the cost, but it also helped to acquire more and more market. So robots technology will not help us to make a firm footing in the supply chain. That's what we need to understand. So when we want to outsource something, we need to be very careful. It's not that I can outsource anything and I can get everything. It's not correct. This example will help us to understand while outsourcing we need to be very careful whether it's really necessary or not. Why do we need strategic sourcing? The question arises. Increased level of cost savings. Yes, it saves huge amount of costs because I need not have to manufacture each and every part. It's absolutely not necessary for me. When I can get better quality product at a cheaper price, who are experts in that particular field, it's better for me to procure from them. See, for example, cars, is it required for them to manufacture tires? No. Car manufacturing company, they are good in something else. They are not good in tire manufacturing. There are many tire manufacturing companies who are experts in tire manufacturing. It's better that you procure the tires from them, assemble it to your product. That is what is necessary. It is not that you also manufacture tires. It's absolutely unnecessary and it just adds to your cost. That is the meaning of increased level of cost savings. By identifying and selecting suppliers that will provide the highest value, that's what I've already said, I can continuously achieve the cost savings. Better alignment of sourcing and business objectives. I can align various sources together. I can have my business objectives met by aligning various sources. Because if I start manufacturing each and every part for my product, my burden, my time, my investment, space required, HR required, everything will be very high. Instead, you align, you go for a collaborative measure of aligning various sources so that your business objectives are met. Optimization of ideal suppliers. An organization is equipped with information that will allow them to match their business objectives to their ideal suppliers. As a result, what will happen? You are creating an ideal supplier. You are not making him just one supplier who supplies you the part. The relationship between the OEM, that is original equipment manufacturer, and the supplier does not end just by receiving a material from the supplier. You need to make him a partner. You need to collaborate with him. You need to align with that sourcing firm. As a result, what will happen? That supplier will become an ideal supplier for you. That will help you to meet the objectives. Long-term relationship building with suppliers. That's what I said. You need to create a synergy. What is synergy? Synergy means 1 plus 1 is equal to 3. When you add two different parts together, the outcome is not just the sum of those parts. It is more than the sum of parts. That's what Japanese have achieved. According to Japan, 1 plus 1 is not equal to 2. 1 plus 1 is greater than 2. So that is synergy. And when we develop a long-term relationship with suppliers, we hope that that synergy is developed. So they become a part of our organization. We do not see them as just a supplier. Whenever we meet them, we say that yeah, we belong to the same family. We are one and the same family. That kind of attitude is required to be developed, and supplier will also feel motivated. When they feel motivated, their commitment towards the manufacturer will be very, very high. So all these things will help us to achieve better success in the market. Outsourcing, this I'm sending my job to many people. I should have done some 100 jobs. I am not sure whether I will be able to do all these 100 jobs on my own. Instead, what do? I distribute my job and do that particular job with which I am good, or do the job I am good at. Sourcing, outsourcing, they are one and the same. They does not strictly mean that only looking for purchasing of cheap products from outside. It's not so restricted. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Outsourcing does not mean that, or don't look it from a very narrow perspective. Look it from a very broad perspective of acquiring a new business partnership. Modern supply chains have evolved from simple linear connections between businesses and suppliers to an interconnected network nowadays. Various organizations get connected, various departments gets connected, and it's not restricted to just one district or state or country. It is spanning across the entire globe. Various continents have come into picture. Company in India will have its unit at Norway, US, Australia, Egypt, and they're all connected with each other. This is what is expected in outsourcing. If a product can be obtained at a lower price, a better quality product from Africa, why don't you look at that? That is what is being done. The key to an optimized supply chain is the effective supply chain management, and a great way to achieve such optimization is outsourcing. If, see, for example, many companies, HR recruitment, it's a must for any company, but most of the companies do not do recruitment job. I don't know whether you are aware of this or not. Most of the companies are not doing the recruitment job. What do? They outsource it. They know that there are companies who have an expertise on recruitment, who have an expertise on selection. These original companies, parent companies, will give the requirement. This is what I want. I want people who are experts in these fields. I want freshers who need to have these skills. Done. Job is done. The HR company, recruitment company will do that job, and they will send the freshly recruited, selected candidates to the company, and then the company will start training. Many companies are there which do not have even training facility also. That also has been outsourced, because they feel that training in order to provide a training, it's too costly. We are not sure, the companies are not sure that how long an employee will stay in the company. You train them to the maximum extent possible by spending 50,000, 1 lakh rupee on each candidate, and after 1 year, if the candidate goes out of the company, what is the use? What is the use of that? No use at all. So there is a huge loss. In order to avoid all these things, companies have even stopped training in-house. They ask the outsider to come up with a proper trainer, and the outside trainer will come and train. This is what is happening. In information technology, outsourcing initiatives with technology provider can involve range of operations from the entirety of IT functions to discrete, easy defined components such as disaster recovery, network services, software developments, or quality assurance testing. So as a software company, are you having all these things? Do you control the network services? Do you control the security issues, cyber security issues? Do you have the disaster management system? Do you have the software development team? Do you have the testing team? Many companies do not have a testing team. They develop the software and give it to a company who are experts in software testing, and it works out to be, sometimes it works out to be even cheaper for them. Okay. Outsourcing services, business process outsourcing, BPO. BPO is a wonderful thinking, and in now it is reducing, but last 2 decades belong to BPO. You mention any organization, it had its own BPO unit, or it was associated with one or the other BPOs. Many people used to say, I am in a BPO. BPO's company they did not know, but they used to say that I am working for Infosys. I am not working with Infosys. I am working for Infosys. What does that mean? They were working on Infosys projects. They were working for Infosys on a project provided by them. Infosys had outsourced some of its projects or some of its work to also some other organizations. Another example I can tell you, these LICs, insurance companies. One of my friend was at and he was working with an insurance company that dealt with air insurances. They were experts in air insurance. Okay, and when air accident happened at Mangalore, he was probably one of the happiest man in the world. You know why? Because that company got business worth crores within no time. They had to do all the jobs. Who had that Airbus company gave, had to be brought in now. So people were to be distributed with the compensation. Some of them had the insurance, some of them did not have insurance. Air company had to provide them insurance, and he used to say in a very sad way, uh, I should not say, but if accidents happen, we will get more business. That was the thinking. Okay. And why does that happen? See, air service provider, say for example, it could be Air India, or it could be earlier it was Kingfisher, now it's not there. Many other air service providers. Okay, Go Air, and they are, what do? They are good in providing the air service. They are not good in maintaining the insurance. You better outsource that job. That is termed as BPO. But in today's cloud enabled world, it has become much more complex and much more spread. So you have the providers, and cloud services account for as much as 1/3 of the outsourcing market. And you can do whatever the business you want to do from the cloud. You can store it in the cloud. You need not have to have big servers that IBM's mainframe used to have probably 15 to 20 years ago. That is not at all seen. That is not at all necessary nowadays. Okay, that is one of the major advantage of outsourcing services when it came to software. So many people do that. I tell you one more thing, there are many companies which do not even develop, which do not even test, which do not even have the cyber security, which do not have the networking section. Nothing will be there. What do? They just collect everything from all these people, sell it to the record customer. That's it. Automobile section. If you take the example of Maruti or Toyota or Tata, whoever it is, do you think they manufacture all these parts? No. They procure it from various sources. What do they do at their plant then? Just assembly. That's it. They are not manufacturing anything else. They are just assembling all the parts together and coming up with the final product. So this is the extent to which outsourcing has taken place. Another example I can tell you, these Lee jeans, Arrow jeans that are there in the market. Many of them are being procured from India, like Arvind Mills, Gokal Das Images. They prepare these jeans and send it to America. American companies would have ordered those jeans pants and or trousers or shirts from India, and finally what do? They just put their label, sell it in the market. That is the extent to which outsourcing has taken place. Examples: Nike holding only designing and branding. I have been giving you so many examples. Let me give some more examples. Nike holds only designing and branding. That's all. Who will stitch? Some other leather company. They will be stitching the Nike shoes. And which company does this one? Chocolate. What is the name of that chocolate? Munch or Tic Tac. Yeah, Tic Tac. Who does that? Nestle Tic Tac. Do you think Nestle will be doing that? Who is doing that? That chocolate is being manufactured at our own Camco at Puttur, and that's how it works. Camco is doing the job of Nestle. Nestle has outsourced its job to Camco. Camco has some free time. It also has its own chocolates. They do not have a very big market. Okay, it has limited market. Nestle has a very big market, but it does not want to start one more center. Outsource its jobs. Or else, what would be the amount that they need to invest on the entire land, factory, equipment, and all those things? They do not do that. Finally, Nestle Tic Tac or Nestle Munch or whatever, it gets wrapped at Camco and sold in the market, and we will be thinking that it is being manufactured by Nestle plant. No, that's what happens. That is the beauty of outsourcing. Dell holding only branding and strategy decisions. That's true. Till 2015, Dell was having was owning the entire supply chain. Was it was designing, manufacturing, the supplying, retail, everything was there with Dell, but that's not the case now. But most of the logistic decisions, logistic management, supply chain management is done by HCL, Hindustan Computer Limited, our own company. The similar problem was there for HCL. HCL was producing or manufacturing laptops till 2013. It did not have a very big market then. It had a very limited market. And finally they felt they are good in servicing, they are good in software servicing, they are good in networking, they are good in supply chain. Why do they need to keep on manufacturing these laptops, PCs and spend their energy? Finally, Shivnadar, the CEO of HCL, felt that we scrap the production of laptops and PCs and we move towards our area of strength, that's servicing, supply chain, those things. They are doing that now. Dell shifted their job to, they handed over the supply chain job to HCL. HCL is also happy now. Dell is also happy now, as Dell can concentrate more on branding, innovation, technology, other things. Toyota, Suzuki, Honda, what do? They just do the assembly, nothing else. They do not manufacture even one nut and bolt there, because manufacturing nut and bolt also will be costly for them, because I can get them at a cheaper rate from outside, because there are many experts in the market available who are wonderful in manufacturing these small parts. Seats, you take the example of seats, no, nobody will manufacture. Outside body, no, they do not manufacture. Everything is obtained from outside, they do the assembly here. Voltas, another example, they just put that label Voltas, that's all, nothing else. Everything is done by somebody else. They have outsourced the entire supply chain to outside. They just put the logo, and someone else will take up the job of selling it in the market. LIC and National Insurance, only sales of the companies. That's what I was telling you. Even these insurance companies, they do not want to put their head into clearance of policies. They just sell policies. Once they sell policies, their job is over. When it comes for claiming, the third party, the insurance company from which we have procured the policy, they are under trouble. Okay, so these are some of the outsourcing examples. Let us discuss outsourcing benefits and costs. Many a times the outsourcing has produced one or the other or one or even more number of benefits. First one is the lower cost, that is due to economies of scale, because you need not have to have a bigger plant, more number of people with you. You need not have to manage too many equipments. You can do everything at a limited space. That's why the cost has become very, very less. Increased efficiency, and since you are not managing too many things, obviously efficiency would be better. See, for example, Uber, how many cars does it own? Zero. Ola, zero cars. Uber Eats, Swiggy, zero hotels. Even then they are doing wonderful. How? That is because of outsourcing. Variable capacity, you can vary the capacity. See, for example, if one company is supplying 100 units per month, okay, and if another company, if the demand increases, you can add one more company, or else you can go to a company which has a higher capacity. So that flexibility is there. If you have a company and if the demand, the production capacity is say 100 units per month, and the demand increases beyond 100 units per month, what do? The only choice is outsourcing. It's very difficult to manufacture everything. Increased focus on strategy and core competencies. Now what happens, you can concentrate on what you are good at. That is what is very much necessary. See, if you are have been telling to my students, see, for example, if you are just for the reason you are a software engineer, there is no rule that you need to end up as a software engineer. I can tell you one example. One 2016 pass out probably, Shishir Barpur from IS department. He has started a mechanical industry. Many mechanical engineers are in software companies. Nearly 30% of the recruitment of in software companies is of mechanical engineers. So now, okay, you are in the software branch. CS branch, okay, fine. But identify what you are good at. All of you would have probably seen Three Idiots movie. I did not like many parts of that movie because they were all stupid things. But still, one major theme of that movie, do what you are good at. That I like. That is what we need to follow. We need to do what we are good at. If you are good in teaching, join a teaching profession. If you are good in coding, join that. If you are good in arts, continue that. Okay, you have become software engineer, that's wonderful. That's absolutely okay. One of my students, he did his diploma and then engineering. Now his father has grocery shop. Now he is expanding that grocery shop. It was a very old grocery shop. Now he is bringing packaging concept to that grocery shop. He is using his knowledge that he earned during engineering. He is bringing in that knowledge and he is trying to incorporate all those things and expanding that grocery shop, and is trying to convert that into a mall or super bazaar. This is what is necessary. Okay, there is no rule that you have become software engineer and you need to sit in front of laptop and you should be doing coding or testing, nothing like that. Identify your core competency and you become what you are good at. Access to skills or resources. Because of outsourcing, you are getting an access to the skills which you did not possess, which the original company did not possess. I am good in technology, I am not good in marketing. Better outsource that job to someone else. That is the benefit of outsourcing. Increased flexibility to meet changing business and commercial conditions. Since you are not having too much of human resource and all those things, scrapping the business has become very easy. You are not going to lose anything. If you had too many people, scrapping your business too difficult. See, for example, now, if Ola wants to shut down its business, how much will it lose? Nothing. It need not have to relocate anything. It can just say, my services are not available, over. Who will be the sufferer? Taxi owners, taxi drivers, they will be the sufferers, not the Ola company. Okay, that is the flexibility of outsourcing. Accelerated time to market. Time to market must be very, very high. More time you take, you are under trouble. So as a result, what will happen? You are trying to capture the market at a faster rate and faster time. Even before the your competitors think of entering the market, you have already captured the market. How did that happen? Because you concentrated on what you are good at and outsourced your jobs. That's why you could assemble a product at a quicker time. Low ongoing investment and in internal infrastructure. That's what I have already told you this. There is no need of very big investment on internal infrastructure. Access to innovation, intellectual property and thought leadership, that's also very, very true. I will get to know about I can either concentrate on my innovation or I can get access to technology or the innovation what my supplier has. So these are the advantages. Okay. Possible cash influx resulting from transfer of assets to the new provider. So you need not have to feel the cash crunch. That cash crunch will normally do not occur. One example I can tell you, see, Corona, even though it has affected many lives, many people, many families, but for crores of people, it's a blessing. It's a blessing in disguise. You know how? Most of the software companies have turned towards work from home. Very lucky. There were thousands of lakhs of people who had just started their parenthood. It became a boon for them. Otherwise, leaving their small kids lesser than 1 year old, where to go, what to do, it was very difficult for them. But it became a boon for them. This Corona, they are appreciating Corona. Because of Corona, they are made to work from home, and they can take care of their child as well very easily without any trouble. And this is and coming to the company side, company was paying crores of rupees on the rent for the buildings. Now they have come out. They have come out, and who is under trouble? The building owners. Houses in Bangalore, horrible. Not many houses are available for rent. There are no takers. It has affected. These are some of the things the company can enjoy, but it may affect the end user, but the company can enjoy because of the outsourcing. Risks of outsourcing. What are the various risks of outsourcing? Some of the risks could be slower turnaround time. What is the slower around time? I was just talking about quicker time to market. Now I am talking about slower turnaround time. Are they not contradictory to each other? No. I will tell you why. See, time to market is the total time that the product takes to enter the market, starting from the design stage. But how is it slower turnaround time? The turnaround time would be slower because it's not under the control of the manufacturer, original equipment manufacturer, OEM. If we do not make a clear cut policy, if we do not have a clear cut condition and rules and regulations for the sourcing company will start doing its own business. They are not bothered about the time. That is how it may end up as slower turnaround time. Lack of business or domain knowledge. You are good in technology, you are doing that. You are good in marketing, you are doing that. You are good in branding, you are doing that. You are good in design, you are doing that. But what encompasses the entire business will not be known to you at all. That is another risk of outsourcing. Language and cultural barriers. Okay, that's another biggest problem. Let me quote one example here. When Toyota started its plant in America, it had to face lot many challenges because the culture of Japanese are different and culture of Americans are entirely different. Japanese are workaholics. They work, and for them company is the first family. Family is the second family. Whereas Americans, pub culture. So they work till 5 o'clock or whatever may be the stipulated time, go to a pub, enjoy the day, discotheques, and that is the difference between American mentality and Japanese mentality. Just for a moment, you assume Japanese or Americans have outsourced to a Japanese company, or Japanese have outsourced their jobs to an American company. Japanese want that within 3 days, a high quality product in 3 days. But what will happen to the product if the American company starts manufacturing that? Can they meet that? Probably not. And the cultural barrier. Uh, culture is also entirely different. Their festivities are different. Everything is different. So that is also not possible. Time zone differences. My time zone is different. America's time zone is different. As a result, the entire India will be waking, and these BPO people will be working. that difference will occur. Lack of control, you cannot control because they are out of your control. You can only say that do this, do this, do this. I'm running out of time. But if you do not have a collaborative relationship, if you do not treat them as partners, you cannot exercise control over them. So outsourcing's hidden costs are there, like does not accurately represent the amount of money, and normally what we have seen is that nearly 10% excess money will be spent normally, even though we say that it saves costs, but in the long run, when I see I would have spent 10% above the what I would have actually spent if I had my own, but still it is okay because risk is less. Most significant additional expenses are the cost of benchmarking and analysis to determine whether outsourcing is the right choice. That analysis itself will consume huge amount of money. Investigating and selecting a vendor, that will also consume huge amount of money. Transitioning the work and knowledge to the outsourcer, costs resulting from possible layoffs and their associated HR issues. They have a problem and I cannot solve. These are some of the outsourcing's hidden costs, and we need to be very careful about them. Thank you.